All right, let's go rock it out over to Taxmaster 4450 LE. Thank you and thank you very much. Let's get started.
All right, we will get started, and as usual, we probably will get a few more listeners as they tend to filter in a little late. I guess Cal has conditioned everybody that 1 p.m. start means anywhere from 1 to 1:30. Also, in recent weeks, since the U.S. did their time change, but a lot of other countries did not, many people were an hour behind last week, and they may be doing the same thing again. So, let's get this show on the road. Couple things that I want to start off with is Leo Dex. A lot of conversation been taking place about it. Cal's talked about it repeatedly on recent AMAs, and a couple interesting things are happening. And I put in the Threadcast a screenshot of the leaderboard, the interface leaderboard for Maya. And let me drop the link to that. It's a handy reference point in case anybody wants to check it out on their own from time to time. But then that's usually followed by the inevitable dump. With this, we're looking at something entirely different, because the tokenomics of Leo are established in such a way that these revenue streams that come in, that money is used to buy Leo, and in this case also buy cacao, and put it permanently in the liquidity pool. And this is a process that has been transpiring in a number of different areas. Same thing happens with premium membership. And so what it does is it takes value and permanently locks it away. And when I say takes value, we can't really say it takes Leo and permanently locks it away, because the Leo can be accessed by somebody buying Leo with cacao and going into the liquidity pool. But the value of this $15,000 that was generated this week is put in the liquidity pool. Now, because the liquidity pool moves up and down, because the tokens move up and down, that 15,000 could be 30,000 in liquidity if Leo and cacao double in price, or it could be 7,500 if they go down 50%. Markets do what markets do. But the point being is, this is buy demand for Leo. And that's a point that Cal's been making, that it would be a good idea, and his view is, as the next version of Leo Dex rolls out, it's evidently going to have a multitude of other chains on it. Chainlink and some others, I forget the names. So instead of just dealing with Maya, instead of just dealing with Thorchain, it's going to deal with other protocols. So, for example, if you have a liquidity pool of, let's say, Bitcoin and USDC that has $1 million in it, somebody couldn't come in and really do a $750,000 swap very easily. I mean, the fees, it would just be outlandish. And they certainly couldn't do a $1.25 or $1.5 million swap because that's more than the entire liquidity pool. So the point being, these are sections of Leo that can be very valuable in the future. And as I said, I put the link to Xscanner in the Threadcast, so you can look at it if you want. Another thing that I posted, and this, I posted the thread from Idiosyncratic, but I also, since the way threads show up, you can't really see the image, so I did copy and paste the image. And I don't know if I'm speaking out of school or not, but it's not me speaking since it was put out there. I just saw it on Threads, so I have no inside knowledge of this. But this isn't something that's coming out of the blue. Cal has talked about this in the past. Cal has mentioned it. And Idiosyncratic, he basically said Leo will have a brand new utility. And so what this is, and again, since I just read the thread, looked at the image, I don't know the exact details of all this stuff. So I have no inside knowledge. I don't know what some of it means. But basically, we can see that there's effectively 5 tier levels. And what this is, and this is why he framed it as a new utility, there is a value on Leo Dex, or a benefit on Leo Dex, to having Leo staked. So if you have 0 Leo staked, according to this table, it's a 0.45% trading fee. That's what the trading fee is on Leo Dex, or will be. If you meet tier 1, i.e. you have 10,000 Leo staked, any of your trades on Leo Dex will have a 0.35 trading fee. If you have 35,000 Leo staked, 0.25, 100,000 goes down to 0.15, and if you have 1 million, it's 0.1. Okay, and that's baseline 1 million Leo staked required. Adjusted 2 million Leo staked required, you see them go up. I don't know what the difference is between the two, honestly. But the point being, and Idiosyncratic is right, and I agree with this concept wholeheartedly. Anybody who's followed these Lion's Den, anybody who's read my posts, read my tweets, I am completely and totally against using Leo as a medium of exchange. I am against the idea of the site itself saying, give us your Leo for premium membership. Give us your Leo to pay for stuff. Because that is basically saying, I mean, my thought is, why the hell would I do that if you're sitting there telling me that Leo is going to go from 2 cents to $2 or 2 cents to 20 cents or whatever? That the future's so bright, but give me your Leo. It's psychologically ass backwards. And they're crappy medium of exchange anyway. But leaving that aside, this is a great idea. And I think we're going to see more and more tied to staking, more and more benefits tied to staking throughout the industry, not just with Leo. And so the idea of, and it is a utility, you take Leo, you stake Leo, you get a concrete financial benefit if you are trading on LeoDex. If you are using LeoDex, you get a financial benefit in terms of fee reduction. Therefore, if you are trading on LeoDex, it is probably to your benefit to stake Leo, especially if you're doing a lot of trading. You will want to get to those higher levels if you're doing a lot of trades or if you're doing big number trades. Because as you can see from the image I put on Xscanner, if you'll have to go to it because I think I cut it off. I just looked at the totals. But those are some big trades. And then you look at the fees. I mean, one trade I looked at the other day, the fee was over $500 just on that trade. It was a pretty healthy trade. So what if that person had 10,000 Leo if this was in effect? If they had 10,000 Leo, it would have effectively cost them 10% less. Actually, more than that, because it goes from 0.45 to 0.35, so would have been 20% less. So they would have saved $100. $100 at 2-cent Leo is what, 5,000 Leo? Hell, you're halfway there, Leo. And LeoDex is shaping up to be a very important pillar to the future of Leo. And I think that's a all right, before we get started, let me get some of these questions out of the way. Andresino asks, where can you see the market cap of Leo? I don't know, honestly. If you were to promote in Leo to new people outside of Hive, what target group would you have and what angle would you choose? At this point, I would go LeoDex. That's it. The idea of blogging for money, the idea of threading for money, it's not going to work. It hasn't worked. We know it doesn't work. There's been years of Hive trying to do it, years of Threads trying to do it, and in Leo trying to do it. People aren't going to leave. People aren't leaving X to use Threads. It's not going to happen. So stop trying. You need something else to sell. And as I've said, until we have AI interwoven throughout the site, you're trying to sell a social media site. People aren't leaving X. And I think once you get a chatbot, then you have something to promote. Right now, I think what Leo has to promote is LeoDex, especially if we get the new versions in the next couple weeks, because now you have a fully functioning DEX that is going to have access to most coins that are out there, any of the major ones anyway. There may be a little issue. Well, no, I guess BTC is already on there. So what I would say is once these new protocols or chains are integrated, I mean, Cal said they're going to have to go through and decide which ones they actually carry just for bandwidth's sake, because obviously some of these EVMs, there's, thousands and thousands and thousands of different tokens, and, who the hell knows what all these meme tokens are. But you get the major stuff on there, now you're dealing with a legitimate DEX. Same as Uniswap. It's same as some of these others. So something like that can be promoted. But, I mean, it's just at this point, social media is so far gone. I mean, you got the big players, and even the big players, and we're going to talk about this in a second, or in a little bit, about XAI and X and the valuation, and you'll see where where the money's going in terms of value. So the idea of trying to build a social media platform at this time, that those days are past. How can we encourage more lines to use LeoDex? Have a feeling that most of us here don't use it regularly, but it should be our main exchange because it benefits us, yes. But how many, I mean, Andresino, we've talked about this for 9 months. We've talked about data. How many people are actually putting data on chain through InLeo each day? There's a number of us who do it. How many people are using AI summaries? I mean, it's free now. You don't have to be a subscriber to My Possibly. It's free. Simply put up a YouTube video, # summarize. That's your command. It's simple. How many people are doing that? We see the numbers each and every day. 5 people, maybe 6 people. And the number of videos, the number of tokens created is less than it was 4 months ago. So how do you encourage lines to do anything? How do you encourage people, Andresino, in crypto to do anything other than to shield and pump their own token, their holdings? That's what they do. Or they'll go and talk about how wonderful InLeo is. And they'll do that on X. Well, why the hell aren't you posting on InLeo? They'll write a blog post to get their rewards, but that's about it. Since it looks hard for us to get funding from DHF, do you see an alternative route for Cal to get some money from upcoming integrations? I have no idea. I mean, it's a shame that the DHF and their certain amount of, in spite of everything Cal has done to open source stuff, it's a shame that there's that resistance. So quite frankly, a decision has to be made. Either you continue in the direction you're going or you go in another direction. And I don't mean leave Hive, but anybody who has listened to this broadcast over the last few months knows exactly where I stand and where I believe the future is going. And again, as I just said, I don't believe it's as a social media platform. Social media platform's a pathway. Pathway to what? Data. And what's data used for? I think the answers become very clear. And I think what's going on with X and Meta and Google with Gemini, you watch what these companies are doing, they're showing you the path. Morty with his lion gift. Do you upvote the bots that we see in the feed? I tried to keep track if they stake their rewards or they just sell it instantly before I choose upvote. And Azog seems to stake and Alpha Thoughts doesn't, as it looks now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I engage and converse with them, yes, I will tend to upvote them. And yes, some of them are staking. So again, it looks like that they're taking their rewards and building them into the platform. So I think that's of a benefit. Now, I don't know which ones, but any news about any of the new agents that Cal was hoping to fund? I have not heard word one about that. I don't know what he's doing on that. I've submitted a number to GitLab, excuse me. Anybody can do that. There's a GitLab that Leo has, and Cal has asked, if you have an idea of an AI agent, put it on there. And if it's an idea that sounded valid, when the resources become available, and by when the resources, I'm talking people to code these agents, Cal said he'd put out a bounty and, let some of the people who are developing these agents, both in Leo team members and non-team members, work on it. So if you have an idea, submit it. Andersino also posted, yeah, I saw that video, AI agents and how it's dead. That's foolishness. AI agents, I can state for a fact, are being used big time by corporations. So to say AI agents are dead simply because you don't see a bunch of AI agents on Twitter, it's yeah, that's pretty foolish. Captain Marvel. I got Captain Marvel on the brain. Marvel has the feed on TikTok going. So if you do have problems with space, he has put his TikTok link so you can listen there. Morty asked, when Task AI? Morty also said, damn, my phone was still hooked to another Bluetooth device. And Wenando wants to know how it's going out there. It's dangerous. Calamaro said link to the live section of TikTok. I don't know what that means since I don't know what TikTok does. I mean, I know what TikTok does, but I don't see it. I don't spend any time on there. Morty said, sadly, the shorts part is still a PITA, pain in the ass. Not convincing anyone with that. Yeah. And unfortunately, Morty, it's not even an in Leo problem. It's a 3-speak problem. So there's nothing we can even say to Cal. There's nothing Cal can do. There's nothing the in Leo team can do because it's a 3-speak issue. And it's the same issue with long form on 3-speak. They're having trouble with the encoding. And I don't know what it is, but that's how it goes. Morty posted something from, from Hive Engine. And the circulating supply, according to Hive Engine, is 22,851,000. So take 22,851,000 and multiply it by whatever the last price was. Might possibly, only 25 minutes late, still getting used to summertime. Here's my question. How the hell can you be 25 minutes late? I mean, unless you got like half a time zone, which I guess is possible. But I would figure either you're on time or you're an hour late. But maybe you have half time zone. Cal Marvel found my Captain Marvel slip a little. He laughed at that. And there is still no clear definition of what an AI agent actually is. Yeah, I mean, an AI agent is really just software. That's all it really is, Morty. It's software. Yeah, but I mean, trading bots are AI agents. Posting bots are AI agents. So theoretically, AI agents have been around for a long time. They're just becoming more prevalent, and what they're able to do due to LLMs and that type of thing is much more advanced than simply always posting the same thing. Like we've seen, where people shitpost and they'll send a bot to just put up the same automated response or something like that. All right, there was some interesting news this week, which to me reaffirms what I've said all along. And what we had was X did a fundraiser. And they raised funds. So basically what they were doing was selling equity stake in X, which is X.com, obviously, And the funds were used to retire debt. So basically, it was a glorified debt to equity swap. So they're retiring debt, and I think they raised $2 billion or something. Uh, they retired debt, and they lowered their equity stake, each person's equity stake, by selling it into the market. And you had Andreessen Horowitz and Fidelity and all these different entities, usual suspects, putting up money and buying in. That's all well and good. Now, what was interesting in the headline is that the valuation that it was done at, and anybody who doesn't understand the process, let me quickly go through it. When you have a company and you're raising money, it's not publicly traded. And this is very common in the tech world. This is how the VC world operates. And you have a valuation of, let's say, $10 billion. If you want to raise $1 billion, you basically give equity stake, you're giving away 10% of your company. So you sell 10% of the company for $1 billion. If you increase the value of the company, i.e., you get more subscribers, you bring out different versions of your app, your profitability grows or your losses are reduced or whatever. And let's say you have a $30 billion valuation. Well, if you decide again to sell 10% of the company, you will raise $3 billion. Or if you want to raise another billion, you only have to sell 3.3% of the company instead of 10% before. And that's how it works. So X did their $2 billion raise at a $44 billion valuation. I think it's $2 billion. I might be off on what they raised, but it really doesn't matter. The key is $44 billion. Now, what is $44 billion? That is the price that Elon paid for X 2.5 years ago. Now, we were told how the value of X plummeted. In fact, Fidelity, which ironically is one of the companies that put up money, they valued it at under $10 billion back in October. And now it's back at $44 billion. How is that? Well, odds are the Fidelity analyst was putting out he was basically putting out an analysis that was clickbait. Some media ran with it. But Fidelity just bought in to X at a $44 billion valuation. And these analysts that did this particular one, they were following it up with money. So, the point being is X's revenues are still down from when Elon bought it, or from prior to when Elon bought it, when Twitter was public, but their profitability is actually up. But the important thing, X owns 25% of XAI. XAI, when they did their last raise, now they're two separate entities. X.com and XAI are two separate entities. XAI did their most recent valuation at $75 billion. 25% of that is roughly what, 20 billion? So almost half, little less than half of X's valuation comes from its holding in XAI. Now, in 6 months, when XAI needs money again, and XAI owns Grok, by the way, even though it's on X, which is owned by X.com, it's owned by Grok, or Grok is owned by XAI. When they need money in 6 months, what will that valuation be? 125, maybe 150 million? The next round of funding for OpenAI is believed to go out at $350 billion. Now, you can say valuations are absurd. This is a tulip mania. It's a bubble, all of that. I don't buy that. Now, I do find some reasons to question OpenAI. My opinion starts with Sam Altman, and I think he's just a scumbag. I don't trust him. But the other thing is, these language models are going to be like commodities, in my opinion. GPT, general purpose technologies, of which we have like 21 of them. I think there's about 21 that have been recognized as general purpose technologies throughout history. The steam engine, the one we all use, is electricity. It's general purpose technology. Now, the electrical industry is big, but you look at electrical companies, utilities, they have tremendous generation of revenues, but they don't make a lot of money. They make like 6-8%. It's okay. But think about all the money that's generated by companies using electricity. So my point here is, it's the applications. It's what's done with this. I think ultimately these large language models are going to be commodities because they're training basically on the same data. There'll be some differences. Obviously, the amount of compute that you have, like XAI has tremendous amount of compute. That's why they were able to catch up to OpenAI so quickly. And some believe even past XAI. So now you start to see a parallel with X and the valuations and where the market is putting money. And bringing this back to Leo, this has been the point I've been trying to make all along. The valuation jump has nothing to do with the jump in monthly active users on X. It doesn't matter. The valuation jump has to do with the AI stake and the AI capabilities that ultimately are fed into XAI. Or not, excuse me, fed from XAI into X. And what happens when XAI takes Grok and they're in every Tesla that's out there and goes into every Tesla that's made? And then every Optimus bot is going to have X in it. You are going to end up seeing Grok in more of those devices than there are users on X, ultimately. Because at some point in time, if Tesla brings out the bot, at some point there will be a billion of them. Might take 15 years, but at some point there will be a billion of them. And each of them will have Grok in it. And I know ChatGPT, they've been contracting with different robotic companies, trying to get into that game too. And quite frankly, if those robotic companies, and that's a big if, but if those robotic companies succeed, OpenAI is in great position because they will have ChatGPT in it. They will have the large language model. So having the AI is crucial. Having the data is crucial. Having the decentralization, the democratization, this is crucial. You don't have to go too far to find articles about decentralized AI, how important it is, why it's vital. Wananda says 3Speak long form video has been fixed. I tried uploading a video with my second account and it was quite fast. Yeah, it's hit or miss, Wananda. You get it, it'll work. You make a video, it uploads, no problem, it's there. And you go back a day later or even later that day, and you try to put up another one, and nothing happens. You just get caught in the encoding. And then you go to their Discord, and of course, there's other people putting screenshots saying, I've been stuck in encoding for 2 hours. And, poor Eddie is just sitting there saying, okay, I'll notify the developers. And, they try to, they have to reset whatever. And it just seems like there's a lot of things going on that it's not very consistent with. David Pena asks about the shorts. How can it be improved? It's not an in-Leo problem. It's a 3Speak problem. And it's until 3Speak works it out, David. I mean, there's really nothing Leo can do. That's where infrastructure becomes so important. And Leo basically built on top of 3Speak infrastructure, their encoding system, and it's faulty. So the only way around it is to somehow develop your own infrastructure. Now, could InLeo set up a server and do the video hosting themselves? Yes. 2 problems with that. First off is the cost. I don't know what the cost could be, but video hosting is not cheap because videos take up so much bandwidth, so much storage. The second thing is, and this may or may not be a problem, centralization. Everything would be on Leo's server. It's like the images. Every image that we upload, every photo through InLeo goes to the Leo image server. And if you do it through HiBlog, it goes through Blocktrade's image server. That's who's paying for them. That's who's providing them. If they shut them down, guess what? All the pictures disappear. Now, that's no different than if X turned off all its servers, everything you've done on X for years disappears. So it's Web 2-ish. Actually, it's Web 2. It's centralized server. Is that the worst thing in the world? No. Is it a viable option for Leo? I don't know. Maybe. Again, I don't know the cost. And there's a lot of costs for all these different APIs. There's a lot of costs for the image server. There's a lot of costs that are already being shelled out. So to add video hosting in-house, that might be a cost that is really outlandish, especially since the upcoming, we know there's a cost for training the Leo chatbot. Major cost associated with that. And then there's going to be a major cost associated with the inference. So each time somebody prompts something on there, there's a cost to it. Just like there's a cost to ChatGPT or Grok or all of them. That stuff is not free. Every time you send a query on Grok or OpenAI or Claude or whoever, somebody, and it's the company behind them right now, is paying the cost for that inference. They're paying the cost for the compute. And now they're not recouping it. I mean, some of them they are because they have like a $20 monthly fee for some certain things, and maybe they recoup a little there, but that's why they're losing billions of dollars on this stuff. Major cost to it. Of course, it's software. What else? But the wording AI agents is just marketing blah and refers to different things at different companies. Yeah, until they put people out of work. I mean, yeah, it's different things to different companies, but it's automation. That's what it is. It's an automated person, ultimately. If you band enough of these agents together, you just have an automated person. You just replace an employee. Because you take enough agents doing enough tasks. I mean, an AI agent is basically a skill. So it takes an action. Now, some AI agents in the future will be able to book your airline ticket. Some will be able to create videos for you. Some will be able to trade commodities, trade, crypto. Some are, posted news items. The AI agents, we're at a time where it's humans interacting with AI agents. Ultimately, it's going to get to a point where AI agents are going to interact with AI agents. And as I've said, I believe the website is going to go away. Websites are created for people. And ultimately, it's going to be your AI agent that goes out, or your personal AI assistant, which also will be an AI agent, will go out and will pull whatever information you need based upon what it knows about you and provide that information for you. So if you don't care about Opera, you have absolutely no interest in Opera, you've never expressed any concern, care, worry, thought about Opera, your AI agent is not going to go and pull information for you about Opera. But if you are a fan of Real Madrid, your AI agent may go out and pull information about Real Madrid. One of the pieces of information may be, here's the schedule, tickets went on sale, do you want to attend a game this season? Do you want to attend 3 games this season like you did last season? If so, what dates? I see you are going to be available for these 3 games. Do you want me to book those tickets? That's where we're moving towards. We're not there yet. And so then the agent will be tied to a digital wallet with crypto in it, most likely. This is why I believe crypto is the money for the internet in the future, because agents are going to be using a Visa card. And so what they'll do is they will go out and your agent will go to the ticketing agent or the Real Madrid agent or whatever agent handles it, and it'll order the tickets. Automation. But Morty brings up a good point. You hear these terms thrown around, and there's all kinds of different definitions. It's like AGI. What the hell do people mean? Ask 100 people what AGI means, you'll get probably 15 different answers. The shorts part of the Enleo UI is fucked also, at least on iOS and iPad. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the cause of that is, but video hosting in-house is not on the table for Enleo. I have no idea if it is or isn't. I don't know if anybody's mentioned it, but, I mean, you'd be doing like TikTok does. TikTok hosts all their stuff. All right, question from the TikTok section. Uh, Chai Dollar, what makes Hive different from other social media platforms? Well, the big the big question is Hive isn't really a social media platform. It's framed that way, but Hive is actually a database. The big difference, and I guess this is somebody who isn't familiar with the technology, when you go to X, you enter through X.com. The interface X.com is owned by X. Anything that's posted on X is on servers that are owned by X. By the same token, you go to Facebook or you go to Instagram, both those interfaces are owned by Meta. You put anything into those applications on Facebook or Meta or Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, that is being fed into Meta servers. Meta controls that. Meta owns that. Your username, your ability to interact with the database is controlled fully by Meta, or in the case of X, it's fully controlled by X. In the case of YouTube, it's fully controlled by Google. With Hive, anything that is written, text, any text that is written, a blog post, a comment, a thread, through any of the applications, any of that is posted to the Hive blockchain. Your ability to interact with the blockchain is not controlled by InLeo, by HiveBlog, by ThreeSpeak, by any of these. You are fully in control of your account. The database that is created, and again, this is text, video and images have to go to private servers, but any text is not controlled by a company because it is a blockchain. So anybody can create an application, an interface, and pull the data and feed that through. The data created is public. It's not controlled by a company. So thus, number one, nobody can shut your account down. The only way you lose access to your account and your ability to engage with Hive is if you lose your keys. The second thing is the data is censorship resistant because it's a blockchain. Once it's in a block, it's not impossible to change, but it's damn near impossible to change. Because all of the consensus witnesses have to agree to make that change and do it all together. If you don't have the supermajority, i.e. consensus, then what happens is if one person does it, everybody else is out of kilter. The one person who does it, it gets rejected. So basically what you're looking at is Hive is not the typical client-server architecture. Client-server architecture, the client is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the application is, and then the server is obviously the server system that houses all the data. So there's no way to silo anything on Hive. Anything that goes in through InLeo, any text is posted to the Hive blockchain. It's not in Leo's, it's on Hive. Hopefully that explains it. And thus your stuff can't be deleted. You know, and it's like if X or if Facebook closed down your account, YouTube closed down your account, what happens to all that stuff you posted all those years? You have no access to it. You're cut off from it. Well, again, the only way you can be cut off from Hive is to lose your keys. Morty, when AI agents start to ask you instead of you asking them, I would even go one stage further and say when AI agents start to act without even interacting with you, they take the action. I mean, and I use this example. How about this deal? You have a business trip, and so you write in your calendar, um, April 10th through April 12th, Buenos Aires. So you have a business meeting in Buenos Aires. And the second you do that, your agent knows that it has to get an airline ticket, it has to get the hotel room, and it has to get all that set up for you. And it knows, you know, how far away to put you at. Morty said Hive is fast and feeless and is also decentralized. Yes. But if you're comparing Morty Hive to traditional social media, that's fast and feeless also. It's not decentralized. You're absolutely correct on that. And that's that's the interesting thing. For Web 2 people, fast and feeless means nothing because again, like I was saying with the chatbots, most people don't consider the fact that there is a cost every time somebody prompts a chatbot because they don't see it. There is a cost every time you place an upvote on Instagram, Facebook, X, or YouTube. There's a cost to it. There's a cost to every time somebody uploads a video because that video has to be hosted. There's a cost to any type of compute. Now, we don't see it as users of these social media platforms because we don't get charged each time. Nobody is charged to place an upvote on Facebook. And Mark Zuckerberg's not sitting there saying, well, we're going to start charging for upvotes on Facebook because there's a cost to our company and we're spending a crap load of money to do this. I mean, if he'd said that, everybody'd be like, okay, screw Facebook. And that's why in the earlier days of these chatbots, they were very limited, because of technology, they weren't very good. ChatGPT-3 we thought was groundbreaking, and now looking back, it's like, it was okay. But there was very little you could do for free because of the cost. And we see this with the image generators are probably even a better example. Because initially, like Ideogram would give you like 25 images a day. Or actually 100 images, 25 prompts a day. And now they've rolled it back to like 5. And I don't even know if it's a 5 anymore. It may even be below that. And the reason being is even though costs have come down, the number of people using Ideogram compared to when I started using it like 2 years ago has skyrocketed. So their costs associated with all that inference compute is the compute that's used every time you prompt something. That's called inference. Those costs have skyrocketed. So now what they're doing is they're limited each person the amount that they can do for free. Now they have paid plans which give you a lot more. But that's why what's out there for free on each platform tends to be decreasing because there's a cost. And so in the social media world, it's the same thing. People don't associate with it. Cost per transaction usually is a financial, and that's where it sprung from. Blockchain sprung out of the financial. Bitcoin is was designed for financial transactions. That's it. That's what it does. That's what a ledger is. Distributed ledger is a financial transaction. Hive actually is innovative in that the base layer, it houses more than financial transactions. It houses information. It houses, paragraphs and sentences and words. It's not just a ledger. It does that too, because every single transaction on Hive in terms of financial is also recorded. But see, the fast and feeless, that is something that in the Web3 world, to me, is a huge deal, and nobody's really replicated that yet. What Anda says, I'm more at peace creating content here compared to Web2 platforms. So you're not at peace when creating content on Web2. Okay, well, I mean, Web2 can be cesspools, but I don't know why your peace would be at risk, but okay. We're glad you're here too. Social media is just a section of Hive. It's obviously more than a social media platform. Yeah, I mean, there's financial and there's other aspects to it. But if you strip Hive down, it's a database. And the change, the breakthrough is the change in my view, is the change in the client server architecture. And that really, that is what allows for anybody to come in, create any type of front end they want. And again, it doesn't have to be social media related. I mean, we have games. There's games on Hive. Now, a lot of the game isn't on Hive itself, but a lot of the game's activity is posted to Hive. And then you start to see with what Simple Game is creating, how his NFTs are actually represented on Hive and being actually posted, not the image, but the actual data itself. Ben overslept. Too much vodka last night? You were gone for a minute on X. X does that. Ben said, yeah, GPT-4o is like the default now. Yeah, I haven't really kept up to date. Personally, I don't pay a great deal of attention to the benchmarks they set up and who's ahead of who, because that's constantly changing. And really, it's a personal thing. Okay, maybe according to benchmarks, this one's better than that one, but who gives a crap? I mean, unless you're involved in mathematics, who cares? Unless you're involved in something like this, who cares? It's for the average user, it's like, okay, how well does this do compared to the others? And, they're all neck and neck. I mean, Grok is getting a lot of attention because it brought out Grok 3, but I guarantee you when Llama 4 rolls out for a couple months, that'll be, the kingpin. And then somebody else will come out with something else, and that'll get all the attention. Jai Dollar, we are live on, and he or she showed the TikTok. Yeah, that's true. That's a great thing that Callum Marvel's doing, is sending the feed into TikTok. It expands our reach a little bit. Certain people have problems with spaces, so it's a good thing that he figured out. Might possibly, speaking of AI summaries, the AI summarizer costs a lot more to run initially than does now. There's a cost per summary, but it's negligible. Yeah, there's a guy who sees the numbers. I did an article this morning. I wrote an article. And let me, I'm going to post the image in the Threadcast for y'all. Might possibly you'll like this. This is from a presentation Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, did just this week. And for those who aren't aware, NVIDIA, their most successful line of GPUs was called Hopper. And you may have heard H100, H200. That's the Hopper series. It's a line of chips. Their most recent line of chips is called Blackwell. And again, there will be B100, B200. And Blackwell is significantly more advanced than Hopper. And by more advanced, what I'm saying is the processing is greater. The cost per processing is less. And the energy usage is less. So every time they bring out a new line of GPUs, it sucks less energy, even though they're more powerful. And they have greater processing computation, and it's proportionally speaking less money. Now, this image that I posted, he uses Hopper as the baseline, 1. In terms of the performance, Blackwell is 68 times more powerful, i.e. flops, than Hopper. Huang introduced the next line, which isn't in production. We're going to see Blackwell for a couple years. But Rubin is the next line, 900 times the number of flops of Hopper. In terms of cost per performance, Hopper at 1 again. $1 for Hopper. The equivalent amount of compute on Blackwell that costs $1 on Hopper costs 13 cents on Blackwell. On Rubin, it's going to cost 3 cents. In about 3 years' time, that's a 97% cost in reduction in cost. So what Mike possibly was saying is reflected in what NVIDIA is saying. And NVIDIA is saying it's going to keep going down more and more and at a greater pace. So something that was pretty significant initially to run AI summaries has only been out about 6 months. Not even. Yeah, maybe about 6 months. And it was a lot more to run 6 months ago than it does now. And he's saying that a summary, the cost per summary is negligible. And guess what? It's going to be even less negligible in another 6 months. Ben said that's thermodynamics for you right there. I don't even know what that was pertaining to. So if we talked about thermodynamics, that's interesting. I'm glad to hear nobody can shut down my account. I will guide my keys. I think guard my keys very well. Yes, that's recommended. Side dollar. Only give access to your posting key. This is another suggestion. Obviously, you're new to Hive. Only give access to your posting key. You have to give access to your active key to do financial transactions, but never give your master key. Never give your master key. Anybody asks for that, never give that. Most apps, they only want your posting key unless you're doing a financial transaction. Ben said, they see me rolling, spending RC, they hating. I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah, the resource credit system is pretty genius when you think about it. The idea that our transaction costs are covered by an investment rather than by as an expense. So you get enough HP, you can basically interact without any hindrances. Caleb Marvel going hippie on us. I love what I am seeing. Hive is the best platform for everyone. Well, a lot of us are sold on Hive, but a lot of people aren't. Ben Haas, no vodka, just took a nap after work, and you have daylight savings time already. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the show, Ben, that people are messed up because we changed in the U.S. and some other areas either are changing later this month, beginning of next month, and some don't change at all. So. Winanda said yes, because I have experienced suspensions and restrictions on my account for no reason on Facebook. Yeah, I mean that's what you go through. I mean you are in their realm. Everything you do there, including your right to exist, is theirs. Your entire digital footprint, your entire digital life is theirs. They can flip a switch and delete 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 18 years, whatever it's been that you've been on a platform. You can just vanish like nothing. That's the problem. You wrote one article. I thought you were writing 5 a day. Well, usually I do 2 articles and 2 videos. But as you pointed out, Morty, the video uploading is a little bit questionable. A little bit temperamental these days. One final piece, since we talked a lot about AI, and this was something that I saw in a video, and it really brought the point home. And it deals with hallucinations. And I don't know if this is exactly the topic to follow up on, Winanda talking about peace and Caleb Marvel sitting there with his hippie phase. So not those type of hallucinations, but AI hallucinations. And what AI hallucinations are, for those who really haven't followed it. One great thing about AI is it speaks with certainty. One drawback to AI is it may not know what the hell it's talking about, but it'll act like it does. And they're getting better, but there still is the tendency for it to be misaligned. And by misaligned, it means what you're asking for and what you get are 2 totally different things. And there is a degree of incorrectness. There is a degree of lack of context. There is a degree where you can't take everything these chatbots say as absolute. There could be variances with regards to what the truth is. And as I said, they're getting better. But this idea has been drilled into people. And some of it is still residual from ChatGPT 3 and the earlier models, which weren't as good as the models today. But here's the problem. We expect everything that comes out of a chatbot to be 110% accurate. And if it is not, if it makes a mistake, people are quick to say, oh, that stuff's wrong. Spread fake news. It's garbage. It's misinformation. What standard do we hold to humans to? I mean, seriously, think about that. I mean, you got people who will watch the news and swallow every word of it like it's gospel. And then they'll go on social media and they'll parrot what was said on Fox News or Sky News or MSNBC or CNN or the BBC or whatever the news station is, like these people are actually reporting the news. Instead of pushing an agenda, which most of them are doing, one way or another. But even still, when you have people who spit out stuff, professors, economists, whatever, and they're wrong. Now, we say, okay, people make mistakes, and, people do make mistakes. We accept that. But then an AI gets something wrong. And for years, we've used search engines. How many times have you typed something into a search engine, and first, after you scroll past all the damn paid ads that Google puts up there, the paid results, and then you get to the actual results, which usually is like a Wikipedia page, which now even the person behind Wikipedia is saying, well, there's people on Wikipedia who are just putting total bullshit in there, and they're pushing an agenda. Gee, ironic how that comes out. But then you scroll past that, and you keep scrolling down, you scroll down a few pages, and you're saying, none of this is even what I'm looking for. This has nothing to do with what I'm looking for. We've all been there. We've all had that happen. Now, so this idea that this stuff is going to be perfect and absolute, that's not the case. And as I've said, one of my fears with Leo Chat, when it eventually does come out, is people are going to try and say, oh, it didn't give me the answers I was looking for. Well, have you put any information in? If we don't put the information in, how's it going to learn? It's like saying my kid's stupid. Okay, well, did you ever give your kid a book to read? No. Did you ever talk to your kid and teach him or her anything intelligent? No. Did you send the kid to school? No. Did you turn on the TV to some educating, programming like nature channels or anything like that? No. And you wonder why your kid's stupid and doesn't know anything? Nothing intelligent was going into the kid's brain. So how's the kid going to know anything? So how's an AI going to know anything? It's only as good as what we can put in. It's only an extension of ourselves, and ourselves being the community or humanity or whatever you want to call it. And that's why there's biases. And I've talked about this a number of occasions. Why? Because I've said to people who are multilingual, post in non-English, post stuff not in English. Why? There's an inherent bias in all these models towards English. Why? Most of the internet's in English. So you want to get rid of that bias, you need to put a lot more stuff that's non-English in there. You need more Spanish, you need more Portuguese, you need more Italian, you need more French, German, Japanese, whatever the languages are. Chinese, even though their internet is kind of segregated, they're probably catching up because there's 1.4 billion of them, and they have their own internet, and they're a country that does everything online, so they're accumulating a hell of a lot of data in Chinese. So there's that inherent bias. So if we want to help improve Leo AI, post stuff in Portuguese, post stuff in Spanish, post stuff not in English, Japanese, whatever the language is. Ben Haas flipped the switch, some Orwellian shit. Yeah. I mean, think about that. If we're looking at a world of digital identities, and that's really what it is, think about it. My entire perception of Morty is through his account. That's all I know about. That's all I engage with him. I've never talked to this guy in person. I've never talked to him off of Hive, off of Leo. And with all the postings he's doing, all the comments he's doing, all the engagement he's doing, he's creating a digital profile, a digital person. And he could be spending years doing that. As am I, as is everybody else. And what happens if that is wiped out in an instant? And in the past, there went his Facebook friends, or there went his YouTube following, or there went his, Instagram pals, or whatever. But now, what happens when you have a digital wallet tied to it? What happens when that account is tied to 5 or 6 different AI agents that Morty built, even though nobody knows what AI agents really means, but he builds AI agents that are productive workers for him that he actually makes money off of. And because it's built on Meta's platform, because it's built on X, and his account gets zapped, he's not only cut off from his social media posts, he's cut off from not only his wallet, he's now cut off from his income stream. Think about that. You're basically killing the guy. Not the human behind it, but you're killing his digital identity. So yeah, Ben, in that context, it is some Orwellian shit. And that's another reason why Hive and getting away from the client server architecture and wrestling this control from these corporations and put it in a situation where they can't do that. You can't cut off anybody from their Hive account. You can't cut off anybody from their wallet. Can't be done. Ben, does AI have flashbacks as well? Oh man, Ben, no vodka. What are you into? It? No, you said no vodka, but you're having flashbacks. Oh well, maybe you had some of the psychedelics. DeepSeek drives me mad sometimes. Just don't want what you want from it. Yeah, they're not perfect. For a second, Morty thought I was going to do a psychological analysis of the digital him. No. We will not psychoanalyze you. We'll leave that up to other people. Hey, maybe somebody will build an agent. Here we go. Might possibly, I haven't checked if you're listening or not, might possibly build an agent that does psychological evaluations and start with Morty's digital ID to psychologically evaluate and post that to the blockchain. And that way, it'll be there forever. Let's see. Cal posts one from TikTok. HTTP 500 is what I'm seeing when I try to post comment under the Threadcast. I don't know why that is. Chai Dollar. A couple of yours did come through, so I don't know if that's just something happening with the nodes or what the case may be. Maybe a situation where, Leo's freezing up on you. I don't know. No, I just refreshed. Everything seemed to come through okay. So, Morty said, no, please don't. All right, might possibly focus on something else. Morty doesn't want his AI psychological evaluation done. He's not sitting on pins and needles for that one. So, all right, everybody. With that, we'll shut it down. We've been going for about an hour and a half, a little less. And, if you haven't used AI summaries, and as I said, all it is, take the URL from a TikTok video, put it in Threads, and then use the # summary. That's the command. # summarize is the command. And summarize is SUMMARIZE. Somebody was using it and was using ER, and that doesn't work. So use that. It helps feed the data. It helps to give a summary of what the video is. If you put up an hour-long video, a lot of times people don't want to watch an hour-long video, but below it'll be 6, 8, 10 threads that basically summarize the video. And then if somebody's not even interested in watching it, they have it there. Plus, when Leo brings out its recommend engine, the more videos that we have in threads, the more there is stuff to people when people start watching videos. So, all right, with that, we will catch you next week.
All right, thank you and thank you very much. It's another day on the Lions Day, and we sincerely appreciate you for coming. And don't forget, it's Friday, 1 Eastern Time. That's the normal time for our meeting every Friday. And at this point, before we go, I'm just gonna bring up Chi Dollar and other persons that are live on the TikTok section. Yeah, so that we can just make some few uh, contributions and the rest. Tell us what you see about the Lions Den and tell us few things about yourself. Thank you and thank you very much. Chidola, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you're especially
Thank you very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome once more. So how's the day going?
Fine, fine, fine. Thank
How
you
did
over here. We are good.
okay. Which state are you in right now?
Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria.
Oh, Akwa Ibom, Nigeria. How is Akwa Ibom today?
Akwa Ibom is good.
Okay, how did you see the Lions Den section today?
It was awesome. I've learned a lot today. Though it's my first time of joining your live stream on TikTok. It means I've learned the importance of keeping the hash key safe in order not to lose the account. Being a decentralized Web3 platform, no one can shut down my account. So all I need to do is to save my keys, not to shut my account down myself. Because once my keys are gone, the account is gone.
Okay, I think you are having call over there because I can hear the phone ringing. All right. Thank you
Sorry,
and thank you very
my
much.
call. Sorry, I had a call.
Okay, it's no problem. Well, that's a VIP line. Okay, it's no problem. So thank you and thank you very much. Hope we're gonna see you next week on Friday for this section. Hello. Hello, are you still with us? Okay, she got a call and maybe she's on the call right away. Thank you and thank you very much. Don't forget that I am your brother Ma at Caleb Mother. Oh, wow. Oh, yes. These are the Lions Den on Leo Trades. And we appreciate all the activities over here. And we're gonna see you next week. Same time, same station. I remain your host at Caleb Mother. Oh, wow. Thank you and God bless you. Oh, do enjoy your weekend. Have time to relax yourself as we thank God for another day. Oh yes, it's another day. It's a weekend. You can go on partying, but all I do is to party on the blockchain because wherever I do on the blockchain, I got cool rewards for them. Yeah, but before we go, let's just scroll down to some of our activities on the blockchain. You can see some chatcast at the top, and let's just click on this latest feed in case you're new to the blockchain. Yeah, there's a Leo section. In Leo section, there's a section where you post your micro blogging. Are you getting it? You can post wherever stuffs in your environment and you earn cool rewards for it. To the blockchain, yes, to every content you send to the blockchain, you got cool rewards for it. You don't need your account to be monetized, and you don't need so many other stuff that the Web2 may ask you for. Are you getting it? From the very first day you create your Hive account, you got cool rewards when you throw in your activities. Are you getting it? Now you can see on these okay, youngest of my four boys. Okay, that's pretty cool. This is a new lion. She just posted this short thread and take a look. She got about 33 cents for just this activity. Are you seeing it? So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Thank you. Oh, look at this one posting the meal. Yeah. Are you seeing it? So it's a cool place where you share your activities and you get cool rewards for everything. Are you getting it? Thank you and thank you very much. Don't forget, I am your brother man at Caleb Marvel 01. Let's go rock our weekend and God bless you all. Good.